Okay, so today we're going to talk about Robin Hood. I have a copy of Howard Pyle's version, The Merry Adventures of Robin Hood. This is in the public domain, and I'll link to Project Gutenberg so that anybody can read that if they want to. And I was just going to give a brief summary of the first story in the book. And then we're going to kind of talk about him as like a trickster figure and Robin Hood as a story about what to do when leadership is illegitimate. Um, so yeah, this takes place in kind of medieval times in England in a specific place in Sherwood Forest and Nottinghamshire. So Robin Hood was a, gay, lusty youth. It's gay in terms of marry.
We're
Uh,
we're 90s kids, man. We can laugh at that.
and and so he's 18 years old. So the sheriff of Nottingham has set up a uh like an archery contest, and Robin Hood's really excited to go to that. He's a very good yeoman archer. Yeoman is like a skilled tradesman kind of worker in sort of independent artisan class in England at that time. And he's interested in going to that contest to kind of show off his skills and to show off for his love, Maid Marian. And it's a beautiful May day. You know, housewives are setting out their linens to bleach in the sun. All the birds and bees are out and all that stuff. And he's going past this group of kind of merrymakers with this pie that they're dipping their fingers into and eating, and of course a big frothy big frothy container of ale. And they look at Robin Hood and they start making fun of him. And he kind of, he's getting a little angry, talks back to him, and they're kind of calling him an infant and things like that. And at some point it gets a little heated and he turns on his heel and he starts walking away. One of them though notches his bow. Oh, excuse me. I forgot to mention that Robin Hood, to prove to them that he's a really good archer, he proposes a bet with sort of the loudest of those fellows, and he says he can hit this yonder deer, and he does. He kills it right there, and but the guy won't pay up, and so that's when Robin Hood turns on his heel, and and then the guy like looses an arrow. He strings his bow and he looses an arrow, and he's drunk, so it misses Robin Hood by like 3 inches. But Robin Hood is in a fury now, and he kills the guy with an arrow. And so he runs away. Some of the guys chase after him, but they don't chase too hard because they don't want the same thing to happen to him. And that's the origin story of Robin Hood, why he became an outlaw. He's living in the forest. He's outside of the purview of the law. The sheriff of Nottingham uh, puts out a reward for him, and look, people are looking for him, but they can't find him. This is kind of a hard time. I think Richard the Lionhearted, the true king, is off fighting in the Crusades. His brother is ruling in his stead. The sheriff of Nottingham has kind of a heavy hand over this whole place, and so a lot of other people, fall afoul of the law, maybe oppressive taxation. And so about 100 guys kind of gather around Robin Hood and they make him their leader. And he's kind of ruling in the outlaw place in the Sherwood Forest. And over time, the people learn to kind of trust them because they don't take from the people. They kind of take from the nobles, the barons, all dukes and whatever. And they also give to the people some of the spoils, some money, and some food. And so the story says the people consider Robin Hood and his band one of them. Um, and so one day, Robin Hood sets out alone on an adventure, looking for adventure. And he tells his men, like, if I blow on my bugle 3 times, I'm in danger. Like, come and help me. Otherwise, let me go. So he goes on his merry way. He sees many types of people. uh, the story says buxom vixens, something like that, and they in shady areas, and they nod to each other politely. And he goes on, and gallant knights in shining armor and their crimson-colored pages, and fat, friars, and all this cast of characters, but no adventure. So then he comes to a large river, and there's just this kind of log bridge going over it, and he notices on the other guy, excuse me, on the other side, another guy kind of in the same position as him, and and they both kind of rush forward, like wanting to get to the bridge first and cross first, and so they start taunting each other back and forth. Are you man enough? Are you man enough? And they decide. So it's fighting words. And then Robin Hood, challenges him to, he says he's gonna hurt him with his arrow or something like that. But the other guy, who's very, very big, says he doesn't have that, and like, so that would be unfair, and he'd be a coward for doing that. And Robin Hood says he's never been called a coward in his life. And then, so they decide to fight the way the guy fights, which is with a quarterstaff, which is about a 6 foot long, sturdy piece of wood, which is sort of like, I think, the common folk weapon of choice, as opposed to the little bit higher in the social hierarchy, the yeoman's arrow. So Robin Hood goes and he cuts himself an oaken, or I think maybe yew or oaken,
I think it's
kind
oak.
of.
Yeah.
Is yew?
I
Okay.
think it's oak. I think it's oak.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
oak, yeah, because
Yeah.
the bow is made of yew.
That's it.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh, good memory.
I
uh,
just read it this morning.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, he cuts himself a staff, and they go and fight on this bridge, trying to knock each other off. They fight for a good hour. There's breaks and everything. Eventually, Little John is able to knock Robin Hood off, and Robin Hood is in the river. He's soaked, but he laughs at the situation. It's a pretty fun, he's soaked from head to toe. This was a good fight. He's laughing. So he goes to the other side, and they kind of meet up. They kind of, they're kind of reconciled to their differences. They got it out. And I think Robin Hood, he blows on his bugle, or his men come anyway, and Robin Hood and Little John tell him what happened, and they say, well, you can't really be doing that to our leader. So then they beat him up, and but he gives them just as good as he got, and they all come to kind of respect each other. And Robin Hood invites him into the group, and to be part of the men who wear the Lincoln green costume. And he tells him, the terms. You'll get 3 costumes a year, and you'll get paid a certain amount of money every so often. And this is kind of what we do, and this is kind of what it is. Little John kind of agrees, and then so they go deep into the woods, and they set up their they make little shelters and little couches, and they're kind of drinking ale, being merry, and uh and yeah, and so they basically christen Little John with his current name, Little John, which they all remark at how funny it is, because he's 7 feet tall and the biggest, broadest, baddest guy anybody has ever seen around there. And he's from somewhere else. Um, yeah. And yeah, so he become, since he's able to beat Robin Hood, I guess he becomes Robin Hood's right hand man.